Hi,
Hello,
can you guys hear
hello,
me?
hello.
Hi,
How are
Sunshine.
you?
I'm well. I'm tired, but I'm well. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, ma'am. I'm happy that you're here too. So, before we get started, a few housekeeping things. This is your host, Lizzabitty. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have not caught the Black Boys documentary on my channel, please go and watch that. I think it will give you some insight as to why so many people are actually repatriating at this time. So today we have an interview with Sister Sherrie B. We are in a Limbic group together. She recently traveled to Tanzania. Okay. And so I want her to give her experiences. I do have a few questions for her, but first we're going to allow her to introduce herself and tell us about traveling to Tanzania for the first time. So, what we want to ask you first is, did you have any issues traveling to Tanzania? But first, give a little bit of a background about yourself. Where you're from originally, like so.
Okay. Well, I'll shorten it. I grew up in Dallas from 8 to 18. I went away to the military at 18. But I moved to Africa from New York City, from Manhattan, where I spent most of my adult life, well, a great part of my adult life. And Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island, Manhattan. Um, I worked on Wall Street for a number of years. I run nonprofit organizations. The money is in the private sector, but my heart is in social services. I'm also a medical massage therapist, um, and I'm retired. So, like I said, I'm a Navy veteran. So there's that. I am in Tanzania probably until the end of October, and then I'll be moving on to Ghana, where I plan to stay. Like Ghana will be my forever home.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So, traveling to Tanzania for the first time, what kind of issues or difficulties did you encounter? Can you give that to the viewers who are actually going to catch the replay as well? Tell us
Okay,
what kind of issues and difficulties you find.
trying to get a better light. I did not have any issues at all. I think it's because of our Limblick group and Jarvis, who we affectionately refer to as Uncle Jay. He and his wife Sharon had already, they're already here. They're in Moshi. So, I think with their tips and just looking at other videos and doing my research, I think it was easy for me. So I knew I had to, get the PCR test in order to travel. I knew that I had to have $100 US, cash to get my visa on arrival. All those things I knew. So it made it easy for me because I did so much research and I listened to people. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of, I'm trying to get a better light over here. There's a lot of us in Tanzania. So I just listened and, I took what I needed and threw the bones away. And it made it really easy for me. Really easy. I just
Okay,
listened.
you brought up something that I wasn't going to ask you about, Sherrie, but what was the
Mhm.
USD $100 significance for? What is the significance behind that?
It's the price of the visa on arrival. They don't want it in shillings. They want $100. And if you have a $100 bill or two $50 bills, it makes it easier. I don't know. Also, when you are here and you transfer funds, it's easier if you have larger bills as well. I don't know the significance of it. I don't know why. I've asked a few people and they don't know why either. I'm like, okay.
Well, I can tell you the uniqueness about having large bills.
Hmm.
Apparently, on the larger forex exchanges, they get a
Hmm.
better forex amount. So
Okay.
it's something about that, Sherrie. They get a
Okay.
larger exchange amount when they have, let's say, $100 bills, a $50 bill versus having a $1 bill versus having a
Uh-huh.
$5 bill. Um,
Right. Okay.
I've never worked in large Forex currency, so I can't tell you if that's necessarily true or not. But
Right.
that's what I can tell
It
you.
makes
It
sense
has been
though.
told to me.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
okay,
makes sense.
okay. All right. So let's proceed on to our next questions. Um, Tell me, or what immediate things, this is your first time, so let's picture this. This is your first time arriving in Tanzania, in Dar es Salaam, which I've been to
Mm.
before. Love Dar es
Mhm.
Salaam. I actually love Tanzania. Um, so tell me, what immediate things did you realize, dagnabbit, I wish I had this before I had traveled all the way here? There should, I'm sure, because this happens to all of us when we travel onto Mother Alkebulan. There's a few items that we would say, okay, I should have this in my bag. What do you say about that?
Not me because I overpacked. I wish I hadn't overpacked. I
Ah,
overpacked. In spite of all the warnings, I still came with 3 bags. And I'm looking in the bags like, do I need the only thing I need is shoes. But I mean, I didn't want
you're
to get
such a
rid of
ladies'
all my
lady.
shoes.
You're such a ladies' lady.
Exactly. I got rid of so much stuff and I tried to narrow it down to just 3 bags. And now I'm here and I'm like, some of this could have stayed in New York. I could have donated more. Like I brought too much stuff. So I know, in spite of people, we had so many shows, even in Limblick, with, even you advising us on what to bring. And I brought all of those things plus more. So I know one of the things that I made sure to get was the adapter
Yes.
for my cell phone and my electronics. I made sure to get that. That's very, very important. Um, because some people said, "Oh, you can get those in Africa." Other people said, "Oh, it's better if you, order it and then bring it or whatever." But you know what? If you're coming to Tanzania, there's no shea butter. Like it's not readily available. I wish I had some shea butter. I wish I
Okay.
had some shea butter and some black
Okay.
soap.
So Sherry, for the people who are watching and catching the replay, that is a good business opportunity then. If shea butter
Uh-huh.
does not grow in abundance there like it does elsewhere
No,
in
no.
processing, there you go. Hello.
It's not a thing here. It's not a thing. The place where I got my hair braided, they sell it and they sell it just like in the tubs like they do in America. It
Yes.
doesn't even look like, how you see it in the West, in West Africa or whatever. So yeah, I wish I had some shea butter right now.
What
I wish I
about
had some shea
since you
butter.
bring up shea butter, what about black soap? Did you find it easily accessible there, or did you find it the same as
No,
shea butter?
no, I brought my own. So because someone told me that it was hard to find shea butter and black soap here, that it wasn't a thing in East Africa, right? So, but in my head, I'm like, well, they have to have like coconut oil or something has to be readily available. It's here, but it's not readily available. If you don't know where to get it from, then you won't, So if you have your black soap and your shea butter, it's better to just bring it with you. Just bring it with you.
Ah, okay. So that's per se two things. Anything else you could possibly think of in that regard?
Mm-mm. No. Mm-mm.
Okay, well, I'll tell you an experience for me that just for me being on that side of Mother Alkebulan, I wish I had brought one of those multi-purpose flashlights, especially
Oh, for the,
if persons are going on safaris and things and they're staying overnight with the tents. Yes, they have lights, but I would have brought me a multi-purpose, multi-use
oh,
flashlight.
yeah.
Oh my God. At times I was like, why did I bring this? Why did I bring this? So just a little survivor's tip.
Yeah,
Just a little
that's a good tip
survivor's tip.
because me, I'm like, no safaris, no outdoors. When it's dark outside, if I'm not accompanied, then I'm inside. Like I haven't been playing outside too much after dark, although I'm going to the beach Sunday night.
Ah,
But that's a
okay,
really good idea with the flashlight. Yeah.
okay. All right, next question. Um, as a first timer traveling to Tanzania, Sure, I can give you my experience, but I'm going to let you give yours and then I'll piggyback. Give us an idea, a summary of things that you've encountered, things you would like to share. It could be sort of tips for travelers, etc. But just being initially there, give us some idea and summary about that. Once you got off the airplane, what did you feel?
Oh my gosh. I was excited. Like it was surreal. Like getting off the airplane was surreal. I could not believe I was here. I couldn't believe I was here. I immediately wished I had studied more Swahili. I was like, I wish I had studied more Swahili because even the youngsters, so to speak, the 20 somethings, they mostly speak Swahili, which I love. I love that. I mean, some speak English, when you go into the banks and things like that. But I automatically in the airport, I was like, man, I wished I spoke Swahili. Right in the airport, I thought that. I was like, ooh, ooh, Asante Sana is not going to cut it. Mambo is not going to cut it. Like, I wish I knew more Swahili is what popped in my head in the airport.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
seriously.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you know what's interesting is like I worked with a lot of Kenyans for years, and they would teach
Mm-hmm.
me like some of their local colloquialisms that is not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
part of the, let's say, the legitimate written language, but you know how we create our
Right.
own stuff
Uh-huh.
within our language. And I
Right.
cannot remember that stuff, but some of the stuff was like just basically funny phrases you would say to people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But definitely, I definitely could see how it would, of course, come in handy for you being someone
Yeah. Yeah.
who doesn't speak the language. So it definitely would help you with, exchange
Mm-hmm.
amongst persons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people will say, I mean, I don't ask people, do you speak English? I find that to me, everyone is different. To me, I find it disrespectful because we're in their country. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
You
not
know,
like, do
you're,
you speak English?
yes.
I try to say my
Yes.
little 3 words, but what I found is that they will pretend that they speak English. So, you may greet them, with your habari gani and, whatever, whatever. And then when you say, I need to go, blah, 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 can you take me here? And then they're like, yes, yes, yes. And then later on, you find out they have no idea what you're saying. When you say, do you understand? They're like, no, madam. So it's like, I'm loving it though. I'm up for the challenge.
Awesome. I have to say, just that statement that you made about being disrespectful. When I first stepped foot on Mother Akebulon, I was in my 20s. I had just
Mm-hmm.
finished graduate school. And
Mm-hmm.
I basically wrote and journaled. I chronicled my entire time there. And I made repeated journal entries about Westerners being disrespectful, especially as it pertained to language. Because the
Mm-hmm.
times that I've gone to Europe, especially in France, and we know how the French are,
Mm-hmm.
even if French people can speak English, they won't. They are going to force you to speak French. Why?
Yes.
You have come to
Yes.
their country. Their
Mm-hmm.
country's language is French. It's not English.
Yes.
But as
Yes.
Westerners, a lot of times we're very pompous in that, especially Americans. Well, you need to speak because we feel like that we are a superpower, and this stupidity has been ingrained in us, and we think that
Right.
people should bow down to us. Well, who are you?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So you
It's
have to
true.
respect them for being patriots. I don't have any
Uh-huh.
problem with anyone being a
Yeah.
patriot at all.
Nor do I. Mm-hmm.
So you are spot on, Sherrie, when
Yeah.
you say this is how it is. I find it disrespectful if you say that, et cetera, because we definitely,
Mm-hmm.
especially as Black diasporas, we have got to put ourselves above par when it comes to our interactions with our
Uh-huh.
ancestors, because they are our ancestors regardless of where we think we originated from. The
Right.
first
Right.
bones were found in Kenya. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you black, you black, you
Mm-hmm.
brown, all shades, melanin.
Right.
Okay, so I
Right.
totally agree with you,
Right.
Sherrie. I totally agree. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
proceed on. Um, since you've been there, tell us about your best experiences yet in Tanzania. And then after that, we'll get to the worst. But let's start with that. Hello, Shay. Thank you for joining us.
I mean, pardon me, it's only been a little bit more than 2 weeks. So, I mean, I feel like every experience is a great experience. I mean, I had a negative experience, but almost every experience has been a really great experience. Pardon me. Some of the people that I have met here have really just touched my soul in a way. Like, and just even like the other night, I was having dinner and there were, a few gentlemen next to me, and I started to converse with them about the politics in the country and, different things, the history of the slave trade in East Africa. And I find myself meeting a lot of people like that, like just because it's just me and someone will strike up a conversation and, I've exchanged a couple of numbers with women here, and I don't know, I'm having a great time. I'm having a really good time just learning the language, learning the culture, learning the city, getting around on my own now. I don't have the driver anymore. So I don't know, just connecting with people, even loving it. I'm loving it.
Awesome. So, okay, so about that connection, but let's be a bit, just for the newbies. This is for the people who've never been there, just as yourself.
Right.
Can you be a bit more specific about some of your best experiences?
Just meeting people. That's
Okay.
it. Like, I'm here to not just as a tourist. Like, I really want to get to know the culture in Tanzania, the different ethnic groups. I've met people from different ethnic groups that, when they tell me the history of one of them, I won't say his ethnic group, but I was a little put off because his pride was in the fact that they are very similar to Germans, the people who colonized them. That was his pride. And, but it was still very interesting. So that's it, just connecting with the people. I didn't come here to be around not to say I don't want to be around other Americans, but that's not my sole purpose. I'm comfortable here. When I got my hair braided, this sister there was like, have you been here to Tanzania before? I'm like, no. Do you have a Tanzanian boyfriend? I was like, no. She was like, you're so comfortable. And I said to her, we're all Black. We're all Black. It doesn't matter if there's listen, I just feel comfortable. I do. I don't feel scared like someone is going to attack me. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. And I don't mind going into places by myself and striking up a conversation and asking, how do you say this in Swahili? You know what I mean? How do I ask for this? That's it. Those are good experiences for me. I haven't done a lot of tourist things yet because that's not my thing. Like, I really like connecting with people. So for me, that's the best thing, just to come here and be able to connect with the people. That's important to me.
I think, Sherrie, that probably stems from your work history. Being a person that works in the social realm, like sociology and things like that, most people find themselves gravitating towards those types of things. So it just could be a part of your personal experience,
Yeah,
etc.
probably.
I totally agree with you. I'll tell you, my first time in Tanzania, I have a college mate of mine. Her husband lived there, and she was working for, I believe, the CDC at the time. But I went to visit her and him. They subsequently got married. They weren't married then, but they subsequently got married. And now, of course, I went back again so I can visit, Masai Mara and the Great Rift Valley and all of that, because you know how Tanzania and Kenya basically sit. But I definitely understand you're saying that, okay, I'm here, but I don't necessarily want to just sit around other Americans. I want to find myself within the culture, with the people, so I can basically get the experience. That's very important. That's very important, because
I think so.
Yeah, no one can tell you in one of my previous videos, I talked about, because I experienced this myself, and you may have, when you told people how you were going to do this whole move. I experienced people saying all of these negative things. Well, that is because Western media has put all of this propaganda out here. Okay. I mean, and if it was so bad, why do you have all of the Indians and Chinese, etc. there? You know, really. But I'll say that what that did was, in not listening to all of those ideologies, it opened me up in the sense that I could enjoy the culture a lot more without any barriers, without any preconceived notions, all of these derogatory things that people put on our brothers and sisters on the continent. So definitely. So I totally understand where you're coming from. Totally.
Right. I kind of kept it a secret that I was coming. Like I told my sons first, and they were fine. And then I told my mom. And when I went to Texas and gathered my family, I had a conversation with them, you know, the few that were there. And I left it at that. So some people didn't even know until I posted the video walking through Tanzania on my channel. Well, what is now my channel. I just was posting it to let people know I'm here. This is what I'm doing. You should come too. I didn't even tell people because I didn't want the negative energy.
Yes. You know, it's a shame that I was in a chat yesterday with a guy I've been following here on YouTube for years. And of course, he was talking about all this political stuff. And of course, my stance has always been, you know, because I am down with Malcolm X, okay? So all of you folks out there in the land that thinks that Republicans and Democrats, and you want to pick between the lesser of two evils, those of you that have parents, you don't tell your children to pick the lesser of the two devils. You tell them don't pick the devil at all. So my contention was in that chat, pretty much the same thing about these political parties. However, people have this notion, especially us as Black Americans. You know, our families have been voting this way, or our families have been doing this way for so long, and that is supposed to be basically the rite of passage. Well, just because you've been doing something one way doesn't make it the right way or the best way. So when you tell people, okay, well, I'm going to Mother Acabulon, all of this propaganda that has been ingrained in them, Sherrie, for years and years and years, yes, they're going to give you that same propaganda to make negative stereotypes, yet they have never set foot on the continent. And that eats me up every time.
Yep. That's why I was very, very careful with who I told. Very, very careful. I only have a couple of friends. I only told a couple of friends after I told my sons and my mom, and I told my dad face to face, but that was it, because I knew how some people, even people not, because most of my friends aren't even from America at all. And if they are from America, they were born in New York to immigrant parents. And even so, some of them still had a negative attitude toward me being in Africa. Still. And I'm like, it's just the brainwashing is real. The propaganda, the negative propaganda against the continent of Africa it's real. And people don't think. That's why I even did a video in the supermarket, because people don't even think there's supermarkets here. Like, come on.
Sherrie, I tell you, the amount of ignorance is deafening. But we're supposed to be the most, in terms of a talent pool of the Black diaspora. It's supposed to come out of America, even though the largest population is in South America. However, we still have some ignorances that we have just got to put aside, which is why I always say, you know, this journey, Sherrie, is not for everyone, because we don't want you coming here, alluding to the fact that you're superior. We're the same. You have melanin. Melanin is a prized possession. Okay.
Absolutely.
It's folks going to the tanning salon to look like your beautiful brown, black skin. Oh!
Okay.
You see? So okay, so tell us about. You said that you had one negative experience. Tell us about that
Hmm.
one negative experience that you had. We want to
You
be
know what? Now
transparent with our viewers.
it's two that okay. So when I first got here, I got a driver from the airport, knowing that I shouldn't get a driver from the airport. I was just excited. Instead of being patient and waiting for someone to call an Uber for me, I just hopped in the cab and I dropped my bags off at the Airbnb and had him take me to the market because I wanted some melon and, whatever, mango and, fruits and vegetables and stuff. And then we went to eat and then he dropped me back. It was 100 US dollars. That's what he charged me, 100 US dollars. And you know what? I gave it to him, but we had plans I reached on a Thursday. We had plans for the Friday and the Saturday. I gave him a crisp $100 bill and let him go his way. I was like, I don't need to see you anymore. He was like, no, take my card, take my card. No, I'm not going to. I know some people say I shouldn't have paid, but no, you take your money and you enjoy it. You'll never get another dime from me. And then the second one was the Airbnb that I chose was infested with roaches. So I ended up checking out and checking into a hotel, but I realized too late that a pair of my sandals were stolen. A really cute pair of Coach snakeskin and chained up little cute sandals, gone, gone. So that's it though. That's it, But
Okay, so
and it
in
could have
terms of the
happened
shoes,
anywhere.
I was just about to say, Sherrie, in terms of the shoes being stolen, they could have snatched your purse in New York City.
How about that? I
How
left the
about that?
shoes out instead of putting them in my suitcase or putting them in the closet. I left them out on the floor. Like I left them out. So it could have happened anywhere. Thieves are everywhere. So I'm like, you know what? It happened. Those shoes were really super cute. I was really looking forward to wearing them in Ghana, but I have other shoes.
That's right.
May she
You're a
wear
ladies'
them
lady.
well.
You're a ladies' lady. You
May
got
she
plenty
wear
of
them
shoes.
well. Right. May she wear them well. Bless her heart, as my grandmother would say.
Yes.
But
So I have a
aside from
question
that,
for you. Um, you had said to me that you were going to Arusha. You made your
uh-huh.
trek there. Tell us about that,
Hmm.
what you saw, what you did, etc.
Okay. So I went to link up with some other with Uncle Jarvis and his wife and their family to visit the orphanage that we've adopted, that the Limblig group has adopted. So I went to do that and I flew because I can't manage a 10-hour bus ride. I just cannot do it. So I flew up there and um, I missed my flight. I think I talked to you, right? Yeah, I
Yes.
talked to you
Yes, we
because you
talked, remember?
helped
But
me
of course,
book
I
my
was going
flight.
to spill the beans. I'll let you spill the
No,
beans.
that's another thing too. But I'm going to do a video about that one too. But also, I went to Arusha and the place that I stayed, I booked it online through booking.com, but they didn't charge my card. So I had to give them cash, right? So my card does not work in Tanzania. It's banned here. So I use my credit card. The credit card put a hold on the payment. So
Mm.
I'm jumping off subject. The credit card put a hold on the payment because they wanted to make sure that it wasn't fraud.
God.
And all I could hear, I'll go back to how I traveled to Arusha, but all I could hear in my head was Future saying, cash is king in Africa. Cash is king in Africa. Cash is king in Africa. Not everywhere. I stayed at a lodge in a village. You can't swipe your card there. You can't swipe your
Okay.
card. So and he didn't want US currency. He wanted shillings. So that was a whole other issue. But getting there, I took the plane and, I was picked up at the airport and it was easy. It was easy. Coming back, the flight went into Zanzibar and there was a long layover in Zanzibar. It was supposed to be like 9 hours. And then they switched it. The flight was delayed. So it was going to be 10 hours, a 10-hour layover with a small, a book bag and no. So I just took the ferry. I paid the $40, 40 US, and took it is cheaper, but I wanted the business class or whatever it was called. So it was 40 US. And I did that in 45 minutes. They have little snacks and stuff. And 45 minutes later, I was at the pier and I hopped in a cab and I was back at the hotel. It was really, easy getting, around. It was very easy getting around, even in Arusha. But the roads, you have to get used to traveling on these roads in a vehicle. Because if you think that 14, what was it? 15, where was I? 15 kilometers is not a long way. But on some of the roads here, it's a long way. It took an hour and a half to get to the airport. And it was just, I think, like 15 kilometers from where I was staying. So in my head, that's not far at all. But,
Right.
Even though the streets look, paved or it's just different. It's different. So you have to be mindful of all that stuff. But I enjoyed it. It was really beautiful. And I'm going back up there. It was really beautiful up there. But, there's a lot of, this isn't Kansas.
Okay, so tell us about some things that you did in your short stint in Arusha.
I just went to the orphanage because I was only there for one day.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm going back though. I'm going to go back and stay for 7 days. I didn't do anything. I just went to the orphanage. I shouldn't say I didn't do anything. I went to the orphanage. I met the owner, the kids, that kind of thing, saw what they needed, had a conversation, and then that was it. I had lunch at a place in Arusha City, I believe. That was really, really, really good. And then that was it. That summed up Arusha. That's why I have to go back.
Yes. I think, well, I won't share why your visit was cut shorter than before. We'll let you get to that on your
Because
own.
I missed the flight. Because I missed the flight. That's important. We have to share that. We have to share that. I missed the flight.
Yes. So everyone out there,
The
I sent Sherrie a message saying, because I thought by now she would have landed and she would have been where she said she was going to be after we had spoken. And she's like, girl, no. Here I am.
I thought you
could get to the airport and I'm like, no, ma'am. See, lesson learned.
2 hours. 2 hours.
Excuse me, 2 hours. 2 hours. So lesson learned, folks. Get to the airport in a timely manner. Stop being on CPT time.
But I listen. In my head, I'm like, it's a small airport. It's not going to be that. It's a 45-minute flight. How many people could be there? An hour is good enough. No, it wasn't. They said 2 hours. You can best believe that next morning I was there 2 hours ahead of time. I got there at 4:15. 4:15 and my flight left at 6:40 a.m. I got there at 4:15 a.m.
Yes.
I was like,
okay, so one question or one thing that I always write about as well when I'm visiting any country is just like describing like the clothing. So the indigenous clothing. How was your experience with that? And did it make you want to get things made? Tell us about that.
I'm so frustrated with that because it's not everybody is wearing Western clothes. Everyone is wearing Western clothes. Even like I'm so frustrated. I asked the second driver that I had to take me to get traditional clothes. He took me to the people that he knew. And I bought literally the same things that I have in New York that I left in New York because I'm getting the real stuff when I reach Ghana. I bought some really beautiful batik fabric off the street and forgot to ask the main question that everybody says to ask, where was it made? Got back to the hotel and looked and it was made in China.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So let's give our viewers a quick, brief history lesson. So as the Chinese began to expand their manufacturing empire and they began to go into uncharted territories for them, not uncharted for us, but for them. as you know, they are masters in replication. So when they saw how the brothers and sisters were making their own cloth to make clothes, of course, they decided to do what? Come up with ways to increase manufacturing and make that stuff faster. And of course, become a monopoly in terms of turning over higher numbers of the product and selling it cheaper. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which has basically pushed out a lot of weavers, fabric weavers. You're going to find that as well, Sherrie, in Ghana, and not just
Right.
other African countries as you begin to embark upon
Yeah.
your journey.
Yeah.
It's something that is, when we talk about certain crafts becoming almost extinct and obsolete, that's one of them, because of many. So technology is a blessing and a curse, you know, but you will see that a lot of these, I want to call them ancient arts, because that's where they came from. Looming, yes, out of ancient Kemet. This
Mm-hmm.
has definitely, it's leaving our society just because of the machinery, because of the need
Right.
to make things rapid and all of that. However, the Chinese have, again, they have entered an industry that is making the people who do this as a trade and for their standard of living obsolete to a point. You still can
Mm-hmm.
find it. It's not like it's uncommon, or you can't. But as you said, it's important to ask the question, where was this made?
Exactly. Yep. And I
So
knew
totally
better,
agree.
just the excitement of being here. And I'm like, I was warned against this and I knew better and I still bought it. I mean, you know, didn't even think to ask when I saw it, I got so excited. I'm glad I only bought one piece, but I was just like, oh my gosh, I know better than this.
I think you were so excited.
I was.
So I can attest to that.
Mm-hmm.
You were so giddy and
Mm-hmm.
excited, and you're here. You're finally here. All of the headache, um, because you do have a
Mm-hmm.
story that you discussed with us in the group about certain things. I want people can go to your channel and watch her videos. Sherrie Bombray channel on YouTube and subscribe, and I'm sure she'll share some of those with you. I'm not going to spill all of her stuff here because that's her own content. But I definitely understand. But again, you were so giddy. I understand it. I understand it. I
Mm-hmm.
understand it. It will happen to all of us at some point. I mean, it
Yeah.
happened to me my first time. It happened to me
Yeah.
my first time. So excited to do certain things because I'm here, and then
Mm-hmm.
voila,
Mm-hmm. I
you
think I'm
begin to
starting
play
to
this in your head.
calm down a little bit now. I think I'm like, okay, I'm here. I'm going to be here. This is reality. And I'm starting to calm down a little bit now. And I'm also not over tipping everybody like I was. Like, here, you get 10,000 shillings. You get, no, I can't be doing that.
Yes.
So I'm
And if
like,
you remember, Future talked about the tipping as well, and she was spot on. You know, I've been to 20 African nations myself, but she was spot on
mm-hmm,
in the sense about the tipping and being strategic in how you leave tips, so that the person
yeah,
who actually gave you the service is not being, they don't receive the actual tip. So be strategic
right.
about that as well. So she was spot on with that.
Yes, yes, yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So
So,
you said that you were going to be heading to Ghana after you
mhm,
leave Tanzania. So what is your
mhm.
departure date from Tanzania?
I don't have one yet. I this may be a little bit TMI, but I my mouth was under construction before COVID hit. So I'm going to a dentist. I looked and found a holistic dentist, and just so coincidentally, I had two, right? That I wanted to see. When I checked into this hotel, I looked up, and the first one that I saw that I had written down is like two doors down from the hotel where I am. So I have an appointment with them Monday. So I'm saying all this to say I'm going to be here at least another month or however long it takes to, you know, take care of my dental issues I couldn't take care of because of COVID. Everything shut down and my mouth was under construction and it still is. So I'll be here until I handle that.
Well, awesome,
So
awesome.
I don't
You
know,
can
at
share that
least another
experience.
month.
Okay, but
Huh?
you can share that experience. You can share your dental
Yeah.
experience while you're there as well.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah. When I
okay.
went to make my appointment, I'm going to show it. When I went to make my appointment, I was like, it looks like any other dental office in America. It looks like any other office. But, when I told one of my friends, she's young, she's like my son's age. When I told her I was going to the dentist, she was like, is it clean? Oh my God. I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
just,
I'm so disappointed in us. I'm telling you, as a people, I'm disappointed in us. We say some
mhm,
of the most
mhm,
egregious,
yeah,
asinine
yeah,
things, and you're sitting here
mhm,
like, what?
yeah,
Knowing, knowing that we have all of these, let's say, city and county inspectors at home that shut down businesses every day for a lack of proper hygiene. But if I had
okay.
said I was going to the dentist at home, she wouldn't have said that to you. So, see,
Mm-mm.
stuff like that really
Is
bothers
it
me. It
clean?
really bothers me, Sherrie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
You
But
know,
you know what? I get frustrated, but I'm like, she's not that young. She's my son's age. She's in her 30s, but I'm like, you know what? This is a teachable moment.
mhm.
So I show her videos, I show her pictures. She's like, when you get to Ghana, when you get settled, I'm gonna come and visit. So now she wants to come and visit because of some of the pictures and some of the videos that I've shown her. So I'm like, you know what? There are a lot of teachable moments. Instead of
Yes.
being frustrated and just dashing people away and calling them stupid, you know, I'll call them ignorant and
Well, you may have
just
a
use it
little
as a
bit
teachable
more
moment.
patience than I do because I am under the
I don't.
auspices that you can go anywhere in the world by doing what? Picking up a book. So get off the TV, pick up a book.
Yep. Yep.
There's and especially now, we talk about technology being a blessing and a curse. There's
Mm-hmm.
technology.
Right.
It's easy for
Yeah.
them to have Googled some of these videos, on YouTube and see
Mm-hmm.
that it's not what preconceived notions that our government has
Yeah.
put into our
Yeah.
heads. You
Yeah.
know, um,
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
people in my
But
family tell
these
me,
are
"Oh, I
people,
guess they're all swinging from trees." What?
but they'll go to Dubai and they'll go to South Africa. And
Yeah.
they don't have a problem going to Europe. They even
Yes.
take their They even go to the Dominican Republic, which is on everybody's list for being unsafe, not to, go there, but it's on a lot of lists for being unsafe, as well as like for having racial issues. They're on a lot of lists for that. So,
Of
but people
course.
don't mind going there and not being afraid at all.
No.
Even
And
after they had that debacle where people were drinking the poison liquor, they're still
yes,
going
ma'am.
to Dominican Republic.
Yes, ma'am. And you know what's even more interesting, Sherrie? I had this conversation recently with Shay. We are so set on going to the Dominican Republic, and they don't even care about your Haitian brothers and sisters.
No, not
Forget
at
about them
all.
poisoning you. They don't
Yeah,
like their neighbors, the Haitians.
no,
They
no.
came
And it's
from
the
Mother
same
Alkebulan.
island.
So while you
Okay.
folks are harrying up to go over there, think about that.
Mm-hmm.
But Sherrie,
Yep.
we have a lot of self-hate in here. We don't
We
call
do.
it that.
We do.
And
We
we don't,
do.
let's say, we're not conscious of it here and in here, but we are.
Huh?
We are really
Right.
sick. We
Right.
really,
We
really are.
are. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't I've had so many like real arguments with people in when I was in New York over their constant trips to Dominican Republic. Like, you don't care about the government policies against the people who look like you. You don't care about the fact that they literally wrote Africans out of their history. You don't care about how they whitewashed their history. You don't care. You don't, but you won't come to Africa. You won't come here because you have a million reasons about how they really don't like us and how they think they're
Oh,
better and this, that, and the other. But
say that, sister.
based on the two experiences you had with the African security guard in the building that you went to, and wherever else, some random woman who may not have even been African. She could have been Garifuna from Honduras, but you saw dark skin and heard an accent. So they don't even know. They're just so misinformed and So I don't have patience, but I'm like, you know what? There's a,
You're gonna work with them, huh,
there are
Sherrie?
no
You're gonna work with them.
coincidences. There are some of them. There are no coincidences. So as you know, she's been my little friend for a long
Project.
time, and I have love for her. So I can't let her. But this is a girl with a 2 degrees. She has a postgraduate degree, so it's no excuse for it. And she's traveled. As I say, she has stamps in her passport. So I don't. It's no
Yes, but
excuse. It's no
the
excuse.
stamps, Sherrie, are not with Mother Akebulon. And like you just
Not
said
at
a
all.
few seconds ago, when you were talking about South Africa, etc., and what
Mm-hmm.
people don't also realize is that Botswana and Namibia,
Right.
those
Mm-hmm.
countries are heavily Eurocentric in their
Mm-hmm.
appearance. Okay. So it's not
I've
the
heard that.
same. Yes, I've been to them. It's not the same as if
Mm-hmm.
you were in Tanzania, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Mozambique, which is
Ooh.
Mozambique. Um, it's
Mm-hmm.
different. It's different. And I'm
Right.
not here to say, okay, well, Bash, you want to say, okay, well, you want to go and repatriate back to South Africa. Go, baby, go wherever you want to go. There's 54 countries for you
Mm-hmm.
to visit.
Mm-hmm.
Find
Mm-hmm.
your niche. Find what works well for you.
Absolutely.
However, while you're
Absolutely.
there, leave some of these Western idiosyncrasies in the airport at your departure. Leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll make
Seriously.
you have a better experience. Um, you'll find
Mm-hmm.
that you could actually mesh better with the locals, our brothers and
Mm-hmm.
sisters. You know, all of that is
It's true.
important. Is important. I am
Mm-hmm.
so happy to have you today. Talk about your
I'm happy to
experience.
be here. I'm happy to be here.
And you know, if you have time, since you were saying you were gonna go back to Arusha, if it's possible,
Yeah.
see if you can get yourself on a safari.
I
Yeah.
don't want to go on a safari.
Why? There's animals in
I
their
just
natural
don't.
habitat. It is beautiful.
I know, but I'm like, why are we out there messing with them? Leave them.
You're not messing with them. They're not in cages like that. See, their safari stuff is different from the South African one. The first one I ever went on was in South Africa. I said, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
Canadian. I was very disappointed. And so the subsequent ones I have been on have been in Kenya and Tanzania. Yes.
Okay.
Quite
Because
vastly different.
okay. Because someone did when I was in Arusha at the lodge. It's for people who are going on safari stay at that
Yes.
particular the
Oh,
lodges
okay.
in that area, and they were asking me if I was going on safari. I was like, God, no, no. Mm-mm.
Yes, you should.
But now that you explain it, maybe I will. Maybe I'll do
Yes,
it.
it's different. I'll give you this. So I since the first time I went on my first one in Tanzania, I haven't been back to
Hmm.
a public zoo since. I'm like, why would I go to a zoo?
Oh yeah. No, I don't do
Because
zoos.
I want to see that
I don't do
lioness handle that
zoos.
business for her cubs. It's
Hmm.
natural. That's how they live.
Yeah.
They're animals. We're animals, but we're part of the Homo sapiens species. But that's how they
Hmm.
live. So
Yeah.
what I liked about it being there, the Masai Mara, is that the Maasai men live with these animals. They live with
Yes.
lions and they
Yeah.
grow up, and how the boys have their rites of passage and maturate into that whole
Mhm.
arena. They learn to live. It is so beautiful. It is so beautiful. It is so authentic.
So
It is
now
so
you're making me want
natural.
to do it.
You have to do this. It is so
Okay.
unique to, like, my first time I went with some colleagues of mine when we went first to Tanzania on one, and we were in tents, and you had lions walking
Yeah.
the whole camp,
Mhm.
and the Maasai men just had sticks. It was no lights, just to ensure they did not enter people's tents. The most beautiful thing ever. I cannot
The must.
explain that experience. I can't. There's really no words for me to articulate it properly, but it was beautiful to watch
Yeah.
them. Because think about how we are about lions. Oh, they're so dangerous. They're only dangerous when
Yeah.
it's time to eat.
Right.
Really. They don't bother anybody.
Right.
But when it's feeding hour, you better watch your back.
Right. I've heard people here say that because of the medicine that the Maasai bathe themselves in, that they won't even be attacked by wild animals
See,
because of the medicine
I
that they
heard
make.
that as well, but I never knew if it was
Yeah.
true or not. Because the
Yeah.
Maasai are very shy. I don't know if you got that. They're
Hmm.
very shy. They are
Yeah.
very shy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
baby, they some
Yeah.
warriors. You will get yourself
They're
cut down.
mythical to me. They're
Yes.
like mythical to me. I can't even look them in their eye because you know that they're all around Dar es Salaam. They're all
Yes.
around here. There's
Yes, ma'am.
security guards and everything here. I asked the manager at the lodge where I was staying in Arusha, pardon me, why didn't they don't have any guards there. So I said, why don't you have a Maasai guard? He said, listen, if we have a Maasai to come and guard this place, from whatever area that they live in Tanzania, that area that borders Kenya, he said,
Yes.
they will come and they will take over my place. And I was like, what? He was like, yes. He was like, there's a lot you have to learn about the Maasai. He said, they will take over my lodge and there's nothing I can do about it.
No.
I was
No.
like, wow.
And so whenever you do this too, like the Maasai women, they all wear low haircuts. I mean, lower than mine, and they are so beautiful.
Right.
And these women are fearless. Fearless.
Mhm.
Yes, you have got to go back. You've
Yeah.
got to experience it. I need you to get that experience.
Okay, you're making me want to
it.
do it now because at first I was like, no. I don't want to see animals like that at all. Nope, nope,
But
no.
you're around
But
here
we have
watching
a
these
baby in
Americans
the.
cut up sideways, Sherrie. Now, come on, that's not fair.
I know, but listen. I don't even go to the zoo. I am the type of person that will ruin your experience at the zoo. Like seriously, I can't even go to the zoo. So in my head, I was thinking like maybe the safari. I don't know what I thought. I just was like, nope, I'm not gonna do that. Leave the animals alone.
No, you have to see this.
So
you
okay.
could actually consider it as like a seventh or an eighth, ninth, 10th wonder of the world, because to see them working with these and it is unbelievable. The second time I went, it was during the migration period. And that is something to see. If you're going to ever go during their migration period, you will find yourself loving it.
See, I said I was going to come back because I have the one. Well, I'm going back to Arusha to stay in Moshi with Uncle Jay and Sharon, but I have the 1-year visa, the multi-entry 1-year thing. So, I'm
see,
like,
you got time. You got time, basically. Well,
you
Sherrie,
have definitely put it in my head.
Yes, ma'am. I want to thank you for joining me today to give us your first experience stepping off the airplane on Tanzania and enjoying yourself and just giving some insights to the viewers and all of the people who are going to watch it later to get some ideas. I really appreciate that for joining and appreciate you for joining me today on this.
Thank you for
video.
having me.
Yes. And so everyone go to Sherrie Bumbray's channel, subscribe and watch her take her journey and all of the things that she will experience while she's in Tanzania and of course making her subsequent place into Ghana, which is where she and I will eventually meet. So
I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I have to get
Yes,
better with my
ma'am.
videos though. My videos are so random. I have to get,
We'll talk.
Okay.
We'll talk.
All right.
We'll talk. Becoming Mayat. If you look at my series on my channel, I have lots of videos about that. Okay, so just have a look at some of the videos, look at the titles, and you'll be able to see that. So thank you. So everyone, thank you for our guests. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you all have a safe and prosperous day. We're going to play our outro, and you all have a good one.